Welcome, everyone. So this is Grandma Mo, and appreciate it if you could hit that subscribe button for me. Trying to reach 500 subscribers here in the early days. So covering the New York Liberty against the Connecticut Sun. This was a rematch of a game that was played on Friday, and Connecticut ended up getting the win on Friday, but New York came back and got the win this time. And Sabrina Ionescu was just going off. She wasn't hitting a ton of threes, but she was scoring the mid range and layups, cuts to the basket. Just terrific game for Sabrina Ionescu. And this was also the debut of Emma Miesemann, who the Liberty had just signed. And she ended up scoring 11 points. Nothing spectacular, nothing, just getting her feet wet. And, I guess it was what New York needed. They needed a little extra. They couldn't get the job done on Friday. And, there was also, it was like every loose ball, they were bouncing New York's way. Like you'd get a tip or whatever. And a lot of times you can tell that's when a team's going to win. It's like the balls that are kind of 50-50 and somehow they end up in one team's hand over another. And this game, it was close most of the way. And then about midway through the third, New York built a 15-point lead. And then Connecticut just never, they got it down to, what'd they lose by 9? They got it down, but they were missing some easier shots and just couldn't get a hoop when they needed it. So, but it was a good game for Connecticut. They are definitely playing better. They do not play like a team that has 4 wins. So, but New York, they've been on a 4-game losing streak and they, got off the schneid. So, looking at some stats here, like I said, Sabrina Ionescu, 36 points. Sorry. She was 14 for 22 from just 2. She shot 63%. She only took 3 threes and made one of them. And then she was 7 for 7 from the line. She was just, Sabrina has had a very determined look on her face lately. And she's, backing it up. She is just very, very determined. She had 11 rebounds, 4 assists. She had a bunch of turnovers, though. She had 7 turnovers. That's high for her. Jonquil Jones, 21 points. She also had 5 turnovers. New York had a lot of turnovers this game. There was 22 total turnovers. That's very high for them. Unfortunately for Connecticut, they couldn't capitalize on that. They only scored 14 points off those turnovers. So that's if you just scored, let's see, what is that? That's 8 of the 9 points they lost by, just not capitalizing on those turnovers. So we had Phoebish, she had 5 points. She hasn't been shooting as much. She only took 3 shots in the entire game. And then Miesemann, like I said, she had 11 points. She had 3 assists. She had a block and 2 rebounds. She was 3 for 7 from the floor. Let's see, who else? And, that was pretty much it. They had a couple people score a hoop here and there. Natasha Cloud was 1 for 7. She only had 3 points. She had 4 assists, 4 turnovers, and 5 rebounds. Maureen Johannes, she's been disappointing this year. I was really psyched, really happy to see her back in the league. And she is just she's not taking a lot of shots and she's not hitting them either. She'll hit a few here and there, but, when she first came in the league a couple of years ago, she was just dynamic and hit a bunch of shots and just those crazy one-leggers, 3-point shots. And it's just not the same anymore. I don't know what's going on there. But she hit 1 3, but she only took 3 shots. Stephanie Talbot didn't score. But she had 4 assists and a rebound. Rebecca Gardner had 6 points. She had 2 steals, a block, a turnover, an assist, and 2 rebounds. Isabel Harrison had 2 points. So that's it for New York. They shot 50% from the floor, but only 23% from three, which that's unusual for them. They only made 4 of them. Let's see what the rebounds look like. Rebounds were pretty. No, New York out rebounded them 35-28. So, yeah, the ball was just not bouncing Connecticut's way in this game. Unlike the game on Friday, the game on Friday, Connecticut was doing really well. So on the Connecticut side, you had Sanaya Rivers. She was 3 for 5, but again, she didn't take a whole lot of shots. She ended up with 2 steals, 4 assists, a rebound, and a turnover, and she had 7 points. Morrow was very strong in this game. She's been crashing the boards for Connecticut. Just crazy crash. She had 9 rebounds. She had a turnover, a steal, and 2 blocks. She was 5 for 11 from the floor. Tina Charles, 17 points, 8 rebounds. She had 2 assists and 3 turnovers. Marina Mabrey, for Connecticut to be successful, they have to have Charles and Mabrey in well into the double figures, like close to 20 points or more. Anisha Morrow, well, Tina Charles was their leading scorer, but Anisha Morrow was 1 point behind her with 16 points. But Mabrey only had 10 points. She had 2 turnovers, 2 assists, 3 rebounds, and a steal. Bria Hartley, 12 points. She had 4 assists, 3 rebounds, 2 turnovers, and 2 steals. Sheldon had 4 points. Leila Khan, she's been playing really well for them. She played great on Friday, but this game she only had 4 points. Not as, but she had 3 steals, 2 turnovers, an assist, and 2 rebounds. And then Nelson Adota had 8 points and 2 rebounds. She also had a turnover. Lindsay Allen, she didn't score, and then Torrey didn't score. So she came in and was guarding Sabrina Ionescu. So Connecticut shot 41% as a team as opposed to the 50% that New York did. Both of them shot bad from 3. They were in the low 20% range. So New York gets off the snide. They end up winning 87-78. And New York outscored them every single quarter. 25-19, then 20-19, then 21-19, and then finally they were even in the last quarter, 21-21. So New York is now 18-10, and they are in second place. And Connecticut is now 5-22. Let's see if there's anything else. And that's pretty much it for this game. It was a good game to watch. It was exciting. It was fast-paced. Good game for both teams. New York just had the ball bouncing in their way, and when Sabrina goes for 36, you're in good shape. So it'd be interesting to see when Stewie gets back for New York and see how, because she's gonna be well rested, but we'll see how long it takes her to get back. But New York could close like a racehorse if that's the case. But we'll see what happens. Okay, we'll see you next time.